Hi, I'm Jake, and I've been drawing Pokemon since I was 7 years old. In today's video, we're going to be exploring the second island of the Iopa region, so if you haven't seen the first video, definitely go and check it out, and there's a playlist on my channel. I've got a new gym leader design for you today, as well as some new Fakemon, and even some Fakemon that you helped to design. So if you're not in the Discord server, definitely hop in, the link is down below, and chat with me and discuss some new Fakemon that you think could be part of the Iopa region. We're going to dive into the story of the Iopa region a bit more, and even introduce the first gimmick of the region. So if that sounds interesting to you, make sure to give me a like, a comment, and press that subscribe button. The second island that you visit on your journey around the Iopa region is based on Rhodes, and me and my wife, well, fiance back then, actually visited Rhodes a couple of years ago. And there's a slightly funny, slightly terrifying story about our time there that links to a Fakemon in this video, so stick around if you want to hear that. I'm still not overly happy with my ability to make these maps, and I feel like in the future I might even commission a different artist to make them, because I'm just not happy with how they turn out. First location that you'll explore on this island is Rodalia town, which is based on Rhodes town. This is the capital city of the island, and in real life Rhodes, it has got heavy links to knights and actually even has a castle of its own. So that's going to be the theme for this location, the gym leader, and his signature line of Fakemon. If you watched my last Iopa region video, I introduced some characters inspired by the Greek gods, and these are going to be really important characters in the story of the Iopa region. Because Rhodes as an island had that link to knights and war, I thought that the god of war, Ares, would be a really good fit for the quote-unquote gym leader of this island. So if you didn't watch my last video, they're not gym leaders yet. You're tasked with recruiting them to join the fight against the Titans, and eventually they'll become gym leaders. So without further ado, introducing Antonio. Antonio is a knight who lives in Rodalia town, and you heard of him opposing the Titans and thought that he would be worthy enough to join Zenon's fight. Hopefully you can all see that his design is inspired very heavily by Greek armor and Greek fighters, I guess. I think it's a bit on the nose, not gonna lie, and I'm not overly happy with it. I think it is quite basic, really. I'm not the best with people, but maybe I'll redesign him in a future video. His name is taken from a guy who actually expanded the walls of Rhodes town to fortify the city, and according to Wikipedia, that guy's name is Grandmaster Antonio Fluvian de Riviere. There we go. When you first arrive at Rodalia town, in typical Pokemon game fashion, he would be nowhere to be found, forcing you to explore the island to try and locate him. So let's introduce you to some of the Pokemon that you can find on this new island. So the idea for this Fakemon line actually came to me whilst I was at work, and it was doodled on a scrap bit of paper in a green biro pen. Mussels and other shellfish are commonly found in the waters around all of the Greek islands, and are commonly found in Greek dishes. I really wanted to reference the fact that this Pokemon could be eaten in its dex entry, and also the way that it looks and behaves, which is why I wanted it to kind of give us that shy and withdrawn appearance. Mussels actually have a foot, I think it's called, that it uses to like dig and bury itself in the ground. I thought using that as an arm could be good to kind of pull its shell down, or as almost if it was trying to hide its soft face. When I was doodling facial ideas, I came up with that little black bit around the eye, which reminded me of a black eye, and then everything just fell into place after that. I gave it like scars on the top of its shell, as if it was attacked multiple times. The black eyes, again, implied that it was hunted and beaten up, and that's when I gave it the little tear as well. It's just a little sad boy. Introducing the delicious Clamez, the mollusk Pokemon. Clamez are hunted by people and Pokemon in Iopa due to how delicious they taste when cooked correctly. Because of this, they like to hide underneath rocks and burrow under sand. They are very meek and pathetic Pokemon, with little to no battle prowess. A kind of dark dex entry, I know, but Pokemon does like to do that from time to time. Think of this guy as the Magikarp of the region. A terrible moveset, terrible stats, and not the best ability as well. For Clamez Shiny, I actually picked colours directly from pearls, because clams and oysters also make pearls, and I thought it would give it a nice contrasting colour to the original. Also, on a side note, how much of an improvement is this dex entry template? It was made by CJ Creates, so I'm going to link him down in the bio. Make sure you check him out. I've got some amazing content coming in the future with some cool collabs with him. Moving on to Clamez's evolution, I feel like a muscly muscle is a well done trope in the Fatemon community. If you Google muscle Pokemon, tons of them come up. But I wanted to do it anyway. I wanted to give my own spin on it. And I feel like my contrast to the rest of them is that Dex entry. So just wait until we get to it to understand the lore behind this Pokemon. I wanted to really contrast Clamez's timid and shy nature with a really muscly, confident bodybuilder muscle. When Clamez's attack EVs are maxed out through battle, it evolves into Muscularo, the mollusk Pokemon. When a Clamez decides to take revenge against the people and Pokemon who hunted it and maximises its attack, it evolves into Muscularo. Muscularo flex their muscular arms to intimidate their foes and to entertain one another too. It gains the fighting type and the ability Intimidate, and with a really high attack stat and a physical moveset, it can really deal some damage to Pokemon. Again, Muscularo's shiny is based on those iridescent colours from pearls. When I was thinking of ideas of how to evolve Clamez, I thought that it would be interesting to explore how it would react to constantly being hunted and eaten. With Muscularo deciding to take revenge, I thought it would be fitting with a split evolution of a Pokemon that decided just to fortify itself and make sure that it couldn't be eaten by strengthening the shells that surround its body. It took me many attempts to be happy with the body shape and the overall structure of the Pokemon because, let's face it, it is a very odd design. I wanted it to look like a Guardian with two huge shields that it was able to swing around and bash away enemies from attacking it. That little bump on its head I thought was a good callback to it being hunted and beaten up, and I also thought it kind of resembled a pearl too. With maxed out defense EVs, Clamez evolves into Midogard, the mollusk Pokemon. When a Clamez decides they are tired of taking damage from the people and Pokemon who hunted it, it maximizes its defense and evolves into Midogard. Midogard's shell is as strong as iron. It uses the shell to protect its squishy body. So, of course, I added the steel type to the water typing and gave it the ability Filter to to reduce damage from super effective attacks. Of course, I gave it a defensive moveset too. And I stuck with that pearly pastel colour for the shinies. So getting back to the story, after you leave Rodalia town, you would visit Route 4, 5 and 6, which is Amphoradan, Epta Falls and Furukatanai Valley, which are inspired by the Ghidorah Dam, the Seven Springs Waterfalls and the Butterfly Valley respectively. Not gonna lie, it was kind of hard to figure out distinct separate routes for this island because a lot of Rhodes is just wilderness and grasslands and mountains. And this is where story time comes in, so the inspiration for the next Fakemon was inspired by my traumatic trip to Rhodes. In July 2023, we were actually caught up in the Rhodes wildfires, and it started off as just a white smoke cloud, and as night fell, we could see the fire coming towards us. We eventually got evacuated from our hotel and had to stay in another one, and then got evacuated again. And as we were driving to the final hotel, we could see just all the land was completely burnt to ash. Sadly, wildfires are quite common in Greece and are scarily increasing because of global warming and people being careless with their rubbish around dry, arid landscapes. So I decided I wanted to make a Fakemon to reference our experience and wildfires in general. The original idea was a Pokemon that accidentally started wildfires, and I wanted it to kind of look like a bonfire or coals, and I thought a snake coiled up could give that aesthetic. I thought that the Nosehorn Viper could be a good choice for a snake for this idea because of its distinct patterns on its back. I thought I could make them look like live coals, and the snake is native to Greece too. Introducing Vipiro, the smouldering Pokemon. Vipiro are timid in nature and startle very easily, so they like to be left alone. To do this, they camouflage themselves as burnt-out campfires. If an unsuspecting person scares them, they can accidentally shoot sparks of fire from their scales on their backs. Sadly, they are the cause of many accidental wildfires in the arid grasslands of Iopa. Pure fire type with the ability Flame Body. For Vipiro Shiny, it's a play on the words white hot with more snake-like colours. For Vipiro's evolution, I wanted it to become this crazy, chaotic, pyromaniac Pokemon that
almost intentionally caused wildfires or doesn't care if it does. I wanted its design to look chaotic and full of movement, so I gave it that zigzagging body shape, which is very different to what I normally draw. I was toying with the idea of just giving it a fiery mane, but again I went full chaos and gave it full flames all over its body, again as a bit of a reference to that colour pattern on the actual snake's body. I asked a lot in my Discord chat for help with this Fakemon because I was torn about the patterns to give it. I wasn't sure if it was too much, too little, and in the end I decided just to go with my gut and go full pattern. If you're not a member of the Discord, there's number one reason why you should be, because you get to help make some of these Iopa region Fakemon. This is Pyropent, the wildfire Pokemon. After spending its pre-evolved life shy and coiled up, Pyropent are wild and move in unpredictable zigzagging patterns. Unfortunately, this can result in them causing raging wildfires. It keeps its fiery mane lit at all times, using the special scales along its back. It's a pure fire type Pokemon with the ability Flame Body, and I thought that the move Trailblaze was perfect for this Pokemon. This is one of the favourite shiny designs that I've made so far. I really like the contrast between the black eye and the white fire. Continuing on our tour around the island, we pass through Route 4, 5 and 6 and eventually end in Lindo Town. Lindo Town is inspired by the real town of Lindos. Not very creative there, Jake. Here you'll hear rumours that Antonio has visited the Temple of Attack. We'll come back to this later, I think. But for now, let's look at some Fakemon that can be found around Lindo Town. Probably one of the first things that you think of when you think of Greek culture and history are marble statues and marble columns. I feel like everything is built of it in ancient Greece. So it was destined to be a Fakemon in this region, really. Unfortunately though, this design was not destined to stay. I wasn't quite happy with it. It wasn't hitting the ideas in my head that I had, and I turned to my Discord group for a lot of help with this one again. And I decided on this little guy that was going to carry around a column instead of actually being a column. I called Elias actually sent in one of his old Fakemon, which actually did awaken this idea within me. That was his intention. Umar, who makes his own region based on Pakistan, also helped with the evolution, but I'll be saving some of those designs for a very special video. Meet Golem, the marble column Pokemon. Golem carry the same chunk of marble their whole lives. Although they use it as a weapon, they will also care very deeply for it and will spend hours polishing it. They train their bodies tirelessly to become as hard as the piece of marble they treasure so deeply. Their muscles become as hard as stone. Golem are fighting and rock type Pokemon with the ability Sturdy. Personally, I'm really happy with how that texturing came out on the marble. I might even go as far as saying this is one of the favourite Fakemon I've ever made. Shiny Golem are inspired by the gold accents that can also be put on these types of statues and that pinkier tone of marble that you can sometimes see. Originally, this evolution line was going to be a chunk of marble column that evolved into the bust of a marble statue. I was just going to give it one arm and kind of like floating, and then evolve it into a full-on statue with 4 limbs based on the Colossus of Rhodes / Atlas. But I didn't do that. I missed out the middle stage and went straight to that combination of a statue, Atlas, the Colossus of Rhodes, and tried to merge it all together. It took a lot of tweaking, refining, and editing to get to a pace where I was actually quite happy with it. And I've put the Colossus of Rhodes on the screen in case you've never heard of them before. This is Marblossus, the marble statue Pokemon. Having adored the piece of marble it used to lug around, it has now become one with it. Marblossus's body is made of solid marble. Their strength is rivaled only by Conkeldurr. Due to combining with their chunk of marble when they evolve, Marblossus immediately find a new rock to carry around. Because its body becomes the marble, I thought for the shiny it would be good to have little gold veins running through it instead of the usual marble pattern. I kind of like how it looks actually. Before we move on to the final part of this island story and the reveal of the gym leader's team / explanation of the mysterious temple, I wanted to show you something very, very special. So Demigo in my Discord server actually created 2 Fakemon, and I love them so much that I wanted to add them to the Iopa region. So unfortunately Demi doesn't have any social media, but she does post these incredible art into my Discord server. So again, another reason to join it and share your Iopa ideas. They might even end up on a video. These two Fakemon are based on the Narcissus flower and nymphs. So the first one is called Narcimyth, which is a fairy water type, the Vane Pokemon that evolves into Daffodilus, the fairy/grass type, the nymph Pokemon. I'll definitely be redrawing these guys in my style, although this is quite similar to my style actually, in a future video. So if you have any ideas for Fakemon that you think should be in the Iopa region, comment them down below and I'd love to collaborate with you to create some more mons for the decks. So getting back to the story, you'd find Antonio at the Temple of Attack, and I thought that this could be one of the gimmicks for the Pokemon region. There would be 6 temples scattered across the islands, each corresponding to a stat of a Pokemon. And by attending this temple and potentially praying to the god, I guess, maybe the god of attack, the god of defense, etc., you could gain a boost on one of your Pokemon in battle. And then that would be one of the gimmicks of the region. Notice that I'm saying one of the gimmicks. I have another gimmick planned and I'm still working it through, which is going to be its own special video, so stay tuned for that. Thank you so much if you got to the end of this video, and I really hope that you enjoyed the designs and the more collaborative process that I took on some of these Fakemon. Not gonna lie, I did have very bad art block, which is why it took me a while to get this video out, but I've got a lot of big ideas planned for this year, so hopefully you stick around. Don't forget to give me a like, a comment and a subscription, and comment your ideas for the Iopa region too down below so we can work together and add some new mons to the region. Thanks guys, bye!